Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Scruffy-Looking Nerdhers podcast. This is a very special episode because it's an all-Marvel episode. All movies, TV shows, upcoming movies, rumors, trailers, all the cool stuff that's been coming out. Very exciting. I am your host, Tyler, as always, and I'm bringing you all things nerd and geek-related, but all Marvel stuff. So here at the Scruffy Looking Nerdhers podcast, I love podcasts. I love recording them, and I love listening to them. And one that I've really been digging lately is the Marvel Therapy Group. It's a Marvel podcast of three superfans who have vastly different ideas on good topics, but tune in weekly on Mondays to hear Haley, Jack, and Joe debate and discuss all things Marvel, including movies, comics, characters, and more. You can find them on iTunes, Spotify, and Podbean. And on social media, they're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Soothe all your comic needs with Marvel Therapy Group. I'm about 6 or 7 episodes in to their podcast right now, and they're funny. They have great chemistry together. I highly recommend it. Go check them out. I'll put a link to their podcast in the doobly-doo of this episode. So, starting off, I have a kind of a condensed, compiled list of all the awards Black Panther is up for. All the big awards, I should say, because they've already have like 43 award wins right now. They're nominated for 3 Golden Globe Awards for Best Motion Picture, Best Original Song, and Best Original Score. They're nominated for 12 Critics' Choice Awards, 8 Grammys, and it's been put forth for almost every single category at the Oscars. Disney really thinks that it has a strong chance of winning Best Picture, and I'm kind of inclined to agree. I really, really liked Black Panther, but do I think it's Best Motion Picture category winner worthy? No. Nomination? Yes. But because it wasn't exactly a superhero movie per se. It was definitely a cultural movie that really spoke to the African and the African American communities as a whole. And I think that's amazing. I think it's great. You know, they were able to finally get a mainstream voice in cinema, and I think that's fantastic. But for me personally, I really enjoyed Infinity War, but I know that's not Best Motion Picture nomination worthy because it's kind of like it's not a standalone movie, whereas Black Panther was. So I'm really looking forward to seeing all the awards that Black Panther ends up winning of all these bigger, more prestigious awards. So I will definitely be keeping an eye on that, and I'll post them on social media when they do. So a Shang-Chi movie has been announced, with Dave Callaham set to write the script, and Marvel and Disney are currently looking to find an Asian director to helm the film, which a lot of people are comparing it to what they did with Black Panther, how they found an African American to direct the movie. So a lot of people are thinking that this is going to be Marvel doing right by the Chinese market, because the Chinese market is what really determines whether or not a movie is a success or not. So this is not, I wouldn't say this is playing it safe. Like, this is playing it smart. And because Shang-Chi is one of those characters that's always been a nice addition when he's been in comic books. He's a really great character. He originated in the 70s around the blaxploitation film era and the rise of Bruce Lee and martial arts films in America. So that's like, once Bruce Lee and martial arts films started taking off, that's when Marvel was like, we're creating this character. They originally were trying to get the rights to the Kung Fu series, and they weren't able to, and so they created their own. They dubbed him the Master of Kung Fu, which is, I feel like, a perfect catty backhand slap to that whole ordeal. And his skills are actually extremely exceptional and unmatched. His equal would only technically be Danny Rand, aka Iron Fist. So I find it kind of interesting that after Netflix has canceled all of their almost all of their Marvel shows, there's only 2 left, and I guarantee they'll get canceled next year, because it was announced just today, I believe, on December 12th, that there's going to be like a 2-year window that Disney can't do anything, or Marvel can't do anything with the Netflix characters. So there's going to be 2 years they can't do anything with them, and per the contract. So this is kind of a really good time frame. I feel like this could be a way for them to bridge that gap. Bring in Shang-Chi and have him, because he's martial arts. He doesn't really have a whole lot of supernatural abilities. He does have the ability to dodge bullets because of how fast he can move, and he also wears, I guess, is kind of a rip-off of Wonder Woman, but he has these bracers that he wears, and he can kind of like deflect the bullets as well. So that's a way to get around him being shot at, I guess. Another thing that he can kind of create clones or duplicates of himself, similar to how the ninjas in Naruto use shadow clone jutsus. This is the best way to describe it for those who aren't familiar with Shang-Chi. And he also literally fought a dragon with Wolverine. But he primarily works as an intelligence agent or a spy, similar to James Bond. So I think that could be a really interesting way to take these new waves of Marvel MCU movies and kind of a way to bring the MCU back down to earth, so to speak, and really slow down, scale things back after the last 10 plus years of this galactic scale of this build up to Infinity War, this build up to Endgame. So I think this will be a nice way to kind of scale it down, because I know they've said that, they're doing this Shang-Chi. They could easily do a Black Widow movie. They could easily do a Hawkeye movie. And by the time those are done, and they're going to be doing another Spider-Man movie. So like just really kind of like wrangle the cattle back in a little bit. So, but I thought that was very interesting. I'm pretty excited about that. And I really look forward to seeing who they get to direct the movie. Captain Marvel trailer was released, and I'm pretty stoked about this. My fiance is too. We both were just kind of like in awe. It's just like, oh my god, like what's going on? It looks really good. So they released a second trailer, and this is a more extended trailer from what we saw back, I believe it was in September, and we see the extended sequence of Carol beating up a Skrull disguised as an old woman. And we get to see more of a young Nick Fury, who sets up the premise of the film with the Skrulls are bad guys and you're a Kree, a race of noble warriors, to which Carol responds, heroes, noble warrior heroes, as she smiles, which I feel is added as a shot fired at the outrage online of the outrage saying that she never smiles, in the previous trailer. Which, that whole air quotes outrage just irritates me, because it's that whole thing of guys telling women of, you should smile more, you'll look prettier, as if women's sole purpose is to just look pretty for us guys. Guys, stop saying that kind of crap. It's creepy, it's annoying, and it just makes you look like a douchebag. Anyway, so we see a shot of Carol Danvers bleeding, and there's like some blood coming out of her nose, and her blood has like a green-blue tint to it. So it's kind of setting up that she's been engineered to have superior genes, because we see her as an Air Force pilot, and it's like a brief shot of what gave her Kree powers, and her getting infused with Kree blood. There's some theories going around that she's possibly cross-engineered with Skrull DNA as well. But I'm not going to hold any merit to that. I mean, it's just complete theory. It's just a theory right now, because we don't really know a whole lot. But then it cuts to a shot of Annette Bening's character, which I'm so excited of Marvel getting all these really great actresses, like powerful characters. They have Annette Bening in this, and there's Glenn Close in Guardians of the Galaxy, and then there's Michelle Pfeiffer in Ant-Man and the Wasp. They're getting some really great, powerful actresses for some roles, and they're doing fantastic. So I'm really looking forward to Annette Bening's character. But the shot was essentially her character explaining what we saw happen to Carol, of her, she's being created, her end was a new beginning, yada yada yada. And there's some fan theories going around that Annette Bening's character could be the Supreme Intelligence, which, for those of you who don't know, that is the leader of the Kree Empire. Some of the discussions I've been in on it on Discord, people were saying, well, the Supreme Intelligence is like a disembodied head, essentially, kind of similar to on the Power Rangers, Zorg or whatever, the floating head guys. I haven't watched Power Rangers in so long. My 5-year-old self would kick my butt and give me a wet willy for not remembering his name. But the floating head guy, Supreme Intelligence is essentially that. But some of the discussion that on my side and the other people who were like in alignment to, the same views of what I had was Ego in Guardians 2 was a planet, which we only saw a couple shots of the planet itself. And there was kind of like an avatar, so to speak, for Ego. Whereas in the comics, Ego was just a planet. For people to say, well, that's not what Supreme Intelligence looks like. Well, look at Ego. And that was fine. And then in the trailer, after that, we see the Mohawk helmet. Oh my god. I'm so excited because this is my favorite outfit for Captain Marvel. So the outfit was championed by comic writer Kelly Sue DeConnick, which was made popular in her 2012 run of Captain Marvel. We see a shot of Ben Mendelsohn's character, which is a Skrull, after this, and he asks Carol, would you like to know what you really are? Implying he knows more about her past, which that's that fan theory I was talking about earlier about how she's cross-engineered with Skrull DNA. This is the part where they were saying that, he knows that she's part Skrull. And then after that, we get a shot of Jude Law's character being a dick to her, followed by a shot of Ronan the Accuser, who was first seen in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. I'm so excited to see Ronan again. I thought he was a good villain in Guardians 1, but I feel like he was underused. And it was kind of like Guardians 1 and Guardians 2 are some of my favorite MCU movies. But I feel like James Gunn kind of used the Deus Ex Machina on the ending with the first Guardians to defeat him. But it was still a fantastic movie. He's a great villain, and I'm excited to see him come back. I'm excited for Jude Law's character. There's some theories going around with who his character really is, and if he's possibly going to be the main big bad guy in this movie. I guess we'll see whether or not if that's what's going to happen or not. Kevin Feige has been teasing that Captain Marvel is the most powerful hero that will be in the MCU, and we get a sequence of Carol's full binary powers, making her look like she's going Super Saiyan. And when she goes binary, she's able to tap into the power of a white hole, giving her abilities on the electromagnetic spectrum. So she can move at the speed of light, she can breathe in space, and even control gravity. We see a shot of Carol's cat, which is named Goose in the movie, which is a nod to Top Gun. She's an Air Force pilot. But it's definitely also a nod to her pet Chewie in the comics. Now, Chewie is known as a Flurkin, which is a creature that looks like a cat, but it can lay eggs, and it has a hidden set of huge pink tentacles that emerges from its mouth. One thing I'm really excited for, and I hope that they do it with like the Kree Skrull War, I really hope that they do something on the level of Star Wars. Like, I'm really excited to see some space combat, and I think it would be really cool if they could do something like Star Wars, or how like Battlestar Galactica was, Firefly, stuff like that. And just seeing Captain Marvel out in space, like fighting alongside him, I think is going to be awesome. I'm so stoked for this. My fiance is super stoked for this, and we will definitely be there opening night to go see this movie. Keep your eye out for a review on that movie. Most importantly, other trailer that dropped this last week was Avengers Endgame. Have you seen the trailer? Because I have. I've seen it at least a dozen times. And I absolutely love this trailer. How could you not? So, one of my first talking points on this is I've discussed this topic before, briefly, but the internet backlash building up to this trailer releasing was complete garbage. I've seen people online say